Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining in this lesson. Today we are looking at conjunctions. This is lesson number 8 of 31 lessons. If you haven't seen other lessons so far, please go to my YouTube channel and look for lessons. Secondly, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing to my channel and support me as I prepare and teach these lessons online. With that out of the way, let's get started with the lesson. What is a conjunction? A conjunction is a word or group of words that work to join words, phrases, clauses, and even sentences. That is a conjunction. In other words, we can think of conjunctions as bridges that allow ideas to flow smoothly and logically in a sentence. Without these words, our sentences would feel disconnected and fragmented. So let's look at these words, or these types of words. Conjunctions come in different types. Let's look at coordinating conjunctions. Coordinating conjunctions connect words, phrases, and clauses that are equal in importance. Let me repeat that. Coordinating conjunctions connect words, phrases, or even clauses which have equal importance in a sentence. Common coordinating conjunctions include words like for, and, no, but, or, yet, so. You can also just think of them as fun boys. F standing for, A standing for and, N for no, O for all, like Mary or Jen, that or. And then Y for yet, and S for so. Let me give you examples. I like tea and coffee. I like tea and coffee. So you can see that tea and coffee are equally liked by this person who is speaking. They are equally liked by the person who is speaking. She is tall but kind. So you can see on one hand we've got tall, on the other hand this person is kind. Then we, under coordinating conjunctions, we have connecting phrases. We ran through the park and along the river. You can see that conjunctions in this case are used to connect phrases. We ran through the park. And then on the other side we've got and along the river. We ran through the park. I'll put the sentence for you to see so that you understand what I'm talking about. Coordinating conjunctions also can connect independent clauses. Like he wanted to go to the beach, but it started raining. He wanted to go to the beach, but it started raining. So when you look at this sentence, we've got he wanted to go to the beach, which is a clause, and it started raining, which is another clause, and these are connected by the conjunction but. Another example, she studied hard, so she passed the test. So we've got she studied hard, which is an independent clause. He passed it, which is also connected with the word so. Okay, that's how coordinating conjunctions work. Then we have what we call correlative conjunctions. Correlative conjunctions are pairs of conjunctions that work together to join ideas. So these work in pairs. They emphasize a relationship between two elements. So they don't treat the elements that they connect as of equal importance, but their role is to emphasize the relationship between elements in a sentence. So we've got, in this category, we have either or, neither nor, not only but also, both and, whether or. These move together. Let me give you an example. If you say, you can either stay here or come with us, you can see this either goes with or. And then we have exclusions. Exclusions. So if you want to exclude someone, you can say neither the teacher nor the students knew the answer, meaning that the teacher and the student did not know the answer. So neither come as a pair with no. Then we've got additions. In these ones, we have examples like she is not only smart, but also hardworking. You can see that while we are connecting two different clauses, where we say she is not only smart, but when we say but also, we are adding to what characteristic or element she has. So these are the examples that I can give under correlative conjunctions. The next one is subordinating conjunctions. Subordinating conjunctions. Now, let me remind you, the lessons that are coming, especially when we get to lesson 15 and going forward, they are going to utilize so much of what we've been learning from lesson 1. And I can assure you that just looking at this lesson, sentences are beginning to sound a bit advanced, even though we are just looking at word classes so far. So we are going to look at word classes up to lesson 12. But you can see how sentences are becoming a bit more advanced. Now, having said that, we've got coordinating conjunctions. Subordinating conjunctions, Subordinating conjunctions join an independent clause, which is a complete thought, like John went. John went. Then it connects it to a dependent clause. So subordinating conjunctions join an independent clause to a dependent clause. A dependent clause is incomplete in thought. These conjunctions show relationships such as cause, such as time, such as condition, such as contrast. So when we look at cause or reason, right? When we look at time, when we look at conditional sentences, when we look at contrast, we are using some of these conjunctions. For example, if you say he came late because, that conjunction, that connection, right? So let me not preempt those coming lessons, but let me give you examples here. Common subordinating conjunctions, we've got cause or reason. For example, because, since, as. Then in terms of time, we've got when, while, after, before, until. In a sentence like, no sooner had he gone when, right? No sooner had he gone when his mother called for him. Or no sooner had he gone when his girlfriend arrived. You can see in that sentence that we are using a subordinating conjunction when to indicate time. Then we have conditions, if and unless. We are going to explore these in their own respective lessons, but I just want you to begin to start thinking about these things as precursors to our lesson that are coming. And then we have got contrast, although, though, even though. All these are coming as subordinating conjunctions now, but they play an important role in lessons or structures like contrast. Let's look at examples as they are used in sentence. For cause or reason, we have sentences like she stayed home because she was feeling sick. Because she was feeling sick, so we've got because there as a subordinating conjunction. Time, he left before the meeting. The word before is a subordinating conjunction. Condition, if you study, you will pass. So if is a condition, is a subordinating conjunction. It's also called a conditional a conditional statement, but we will look at that later. And then we've got contrast. Although it was raining, we decided to go for a walk. You can also see how this example fits in with contrast as a lesson which is coming. So what are the functions and roles of conjunctions in sentences? Number one, they connect words and ideas. For example, John and Mary went to the park. So we've got John and Mary connected. As an entity, they went to the park. Okay? Then they show relationships, like I stayed up late because I had a lot of work. So you can see the relationship between staying late and work. This person stayed late because of the work that I did, and therefore the sentence is I stayed up late because I had a lot of work to do. Then creating smooth transitions. We were tired, but we kept working. Look, if we didn't have a conjunction but in that sentence, we would have something like we were tired, we kept working, right? So with the introduction of the word but in that sentence, the transition is smooth. And sometimes we use conjunctions to balance up ideas when you say you can either stay or leave. So if you've got two ideas which are equal, staying, leaving, as in that example. Now, let's look at compound sentences and complex sentences using conjunctions. Let's start by looking at compound sentences. Compound sentences contain two or more independent clauses connected by a coordinating conjunction. For example, she wanted to stay home, but she had to go to school. She wanted to stay home, but she wanted. So you can see in this case, we've got two different independent clauses, and these are connected by a coordinating conjunction. Then we've got complex sentences. A complex sentence is one that has at least two independent clauses and one dependent clause, a minimum of one. Let's look at how this works. Because it was raining, we stayed indoors. Because it was raining, we stayed indoors. So in this sentence, we've got we stayed indoors, which is an independent clause, and then we have because it was raining, and that is how conjunctions work. I'm going to end here before I complicate things, because this lesson was just supposed to give you enough information to know what conjunctions are, the types that are there, when we use them, and how we use them. If you got that, please read a bit further. I've got notes on my website on conjunctions. Just go there and search. You are going to find notes you can read. There are more examples in the notes. There are more illustrations in the notes. So it will be a good idea if you headed to the website. I'll put the link in the description so that you can go and read those notes. Okay, you don't need to actually sign up or put your email address or anything. It's just a website. Read. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye.